and welcome to Brick Gaming yugioh. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Today we will be continuing this series on how to drastically improve at Yu-Gi-Oh! Today we're going to be talking about test playing and why it's so important. Now first off, let's go over some of the pros that come with test playing. First off, it's really easy to do. You can either access it online through Doing Book, yugioh Pro, anything like that, or you can do it in person with your friends, like meet up with friends at their place or wherever, and test play, run through your deck, stuff like that. Next, it helps you familiarize yourself with your deck, and you can learn the best plays for turn by turn. And there's a ton of different ways you can do this. Sometimes you can just show your opponent your hand, and you guys can go over what the best play is, and that can help out quite a bit, as well as just playing the game out, seeing what your deck can do. So test playing can really be helpful in that way because, it's a turn by play, turn by turn, and then which plays you're making each turn, which are definitely very important to know and to understand. Next, it helps with figuring out interaction, and it helps with figuring out your easy and hard matchups. First off, with your interactions, for example, I was playing against a guy playing Avermax, didn't test play against Avermax, and had to figure out the ruling for that. But if I had test played with one of my buddies who played that card, I could have had a better idea of how the interaction worked, etc. So by test playing, you get kind of a more understanding of a wide array of cards and how they interact, especially meta cards or even rogue cards, which can definitely help you out in tournaments or help you out larger events. And next, figuring out easy and harder matchups. This can be anything from figuring out what to side in the matchup, to figuring out which matchup hurts you the most, which meta deck you have a good matchup against, which one you don't. All this can be very important to helping you out with side decking, maybe even main decking some cards, depending on what you're playing. All that can be very helpful for figuring out your matchups and your interactions. Next, in person, you can get opinions from others. If you're not sure about a card or a card doesn't really come up that much, you can get other people's opinions and figure out, is this card worth playing? And that can also be very helpful for just figuring out your own deck. Because second opinions can actually really help out. I took a deck, topped with the deck, just because I got second opinions. This was a while back, but still, getting second opinions can help you out quite a bit. Next, it better prepares you for events. Now, if you're going to go to YCS or regional or anything along those lines, I would highly recommend test playing. Test playing would probably be the number one thing to help you out because pretty much test playing, you can learn about cards, you can learn about interactions, you can know what your matchups are, all of that type of stuff. And that all comes from just test playing. Test playing can be very helpful. Now, I want to move on to some of the cons of test playing. It can be really time consuming. If you're going to do a whole lot of testing, it can take up a lot of time out of your day. And if you don't have the time to do it, you can always use test hands, which help out a lot, but not as much as test play. And also, if you're going to try to get together in person, organizing it can be hard sometimes, just depending on people's work schedules and stuff like that. I still highly recommend, while doing test hands, of course, test hands can be very helpful, and I would recommend doing both test playing and test hands, but I think test playing kind of trumps that because you can just get so much more out of test playing. Also, the other problem is if you're doing it online, it isn't really perfect because it doesn't really give you the best, experience for in-person gaming. So, for example, there's always human interaction in person, which is important because, a tournament's going to have human interaction. It's less automated, you can't do, click on card and see if you can activate it. Unless you're using Doing Book. Doing Book is probably, the most realistic out of any of the online ways you can do it. But, for example, with, yugioh Pro, you can see what you can activate, all that type of stuff. When in real life, you're not really going to have that. Also, reading your opponent can be very important to read your opponent. Some people have giveaways to, what they have, stuff like that. So that can be very important, and you only really get that in person. And it's also easier to get another opinion. Online, not everyone's going to give you honest opinions or anything like that. In person, if you have a good group, you're going to definitely get a lot more accurate opinions, and you're going to get a lot more ways to like play around with your deck and things that will help out your deck more. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or suggestions for future uploads, leave them in the comments below. If you want to see like another video like this or want me to continue with this series, leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video.